What is up, guys? It's your girl Sid, Naturally Being. I'm back to you again with another video. Trying to be in good spirits because I internally am dying. JK, I'm not. Slowly I am. Slowly we all are. But in the metaphorical sense I am speaking of, I'm being overdramatic. For one, I have a wounded foot and I am bedridden. I'm stuck at home because I can't put pressure on it. I found my mom found some crutches that the neighbor, coincidentally, a neighbor right down the street left out. But it's over the top. It's over the top. I just need like one more day, I think, of just like trying to chill, not walk on it a lot, and let it heal. I got a bad burn. That's what happened. I got a burn on my foot. But I always talk too much at the start of these videos, so I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk today about my mental health because I don't know, I don't think I've done like, a video really talking about that on my channel. Like, I've definitely talked about my mental health, but I don't think I've talked about like the journey of my mental health and kind of like the ups and downs, because I think it's important to like share, and especially I think someone like me, it's like, people who meet me are not going to assume that I struggle a lot with my mental health, because like many people who struggle like severely with mental health and have most of their lives, we kind of manufacture this persona, this mask, to show to the world. I think there's so many factors to this stuff, right? That's why I love psychology. It's like, there's a lot of people out there who they have depression, they have anxiety, and they don't hide it, right? Like we've all met those people where it's kind of like they have this dark cloud over them, and and so something happened to me, or it's like my nature, something in my nature that I guess it's like I want to be liked, and I have like an aversion to negativity. For one, what I've always said is like my dad was a recluse, he was an alcoholic, and so he would just lock himself in his room, and he was unhappy. Like, it was clear, like my dad was never happy. And so I've always thought that's why I have such like an aversion to negativity and depression. Like, I can't let anybody see me in like a negative, space, because I just think that's like bad, and yeah. But for me, like, I'm not I'm wearing a bikini top. It looks like I'm naked under here. I'm not. I know you wish I was. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like I obviously have something within me where it's like I try to mask my mental health issues. And you know what? It probably would be like a little bit more relaxing to not do that. It takes a lot of energy to do that. But I also think it's like, I guess a lot of it too is like, this belief that it's like I don't want to share my pain. I don't want anybody else to feel what I'm feeling, and so I'm going to act like everything's fine, And so yeah, I've always been somebody who's very like happy and positive and upbeat and stuff, and so a lot of people are really surprised when I tell them that I have like severe anxiety and stuff like that, And it's also whatever. I'm not going to go down all these fucking tangents. Keep it together, Sid. And so, you know, I think it's valuable for me to share my story because it's like, you have no idea, you know, no matter how confident somebody appears, no matter how happy they appear, no matter how put together, it's like, you do not know the demons that people are wrestling with. And I need to remember that too. You know, it's like, it's easy for me to accept the facades that people show me. But you got to be a little more curious. You got to be a little more perceptive, and you need to see, you know, try to see past that sometimes. Speaking to myself too. So basically for me, my mental health issues started very young. I was probably like 8 or 9 is usually what I guess. It could have been like younger than that. And basically that was me as a kid not being able to sleep. Like, I remember not being able to sleep a lot of my childhood. I was like, I just stayed up really late. You know, once I got a phone and stuff, like, you know, my parents probably got me a phone. Well, you know, back then, iPod Touch. I got an iPod Touch probably when I was like 11 or 12 or something. I'm 28, so if that math makes sense to when they put out iPod Touches. But whenever I first got like a laptop or an iPod Touch or whatever it was, I was on it all night. And I was watching YouTube videos. I didn't sleep because I had such bad anxiety at night. Like, I had anxiety in general, but it was so bad at night. You know, it kind of just felt, well, I would have panic attacks. So that was the thing, you know, it's like I had anxiety, but like at night I would have panic attacks. And so when I was younger, I couldn't do anything about it. You know, I would have these panic attacks and I would run into my parents' room and they would, you know, try to make me feel better. And then I would get to sleep. But, you know, once I got to the point where I had something I could utilize, then I was like, well, I don't want panic attacks, so I'm not sleeping, you know? And I would stay up all night. And I would do that like most nights, pulling all-nighters, yeah, before school as a kid. And, you know, that was a lot of it then. It was panic attacks like that. And then I developed OCD. I don't know. I think it was around the same time. Like, it kind of went hand in hand. And so when I was like late elementary into middle school, I had really bad OCD. I couldn't go to school a lot. My rituals interfered a lot with my daily life and created like a lot of shame in my daily life because it was so embarrassing, like the things I was doing for my rituals, you know, because when you have OCD, it can manifest in so many ways, and like people know that a lot better now. I always, you know, when I was younger, I always thought it was just like what I was doing. Like, I had rituals, I would do repetitive things multiple times, you know, because if I didn't, something horrible would happen. And it was horrible. It was just horrible. And all the while, you know, my anxiety, my OCD, I got diagnosed with ADHD at a very young age when I was in like 4th grade. And that caused a lot of challenges in my life, just getting in trouble all the time, always, you know, being yelled at, always getting detention, in school suspension, like all of that, like my whole childhood, all while, you know, I'm battling with OCD and an anxiety disorder. These were things, you know, I was diagnosed with. And I tried medication at different points, but they would always have like bad side effects for me. And so I would stop them, and I never like, you know, stayed on any kind of medication when I was a kid until I took Adderall for my ADHD later. But so the OCD was really bad, and middle school. And when I got into high school, like that's kind of when a lot of things started to improve in my life with my mental health, you know, like I was always kind of like a sad like kid, you know, like again, I've always been pretty like consistent. Like I've always, you know, kind of masked my issues, you know, and tried to be really like, you know, class clown, fun, like positive, dumb blonde. That was like, I don't know why that was my thing in school, but I always was like playing the dumb blonde or something. I think I was just trying to own like, so people wouldn't make fun of me for my intelligence, because that would happen a lot. I started to just try to like play dumb so I could like beat them to it. But I always tried to like, you know, seem happy and unbothered by things. And so anyways, when I got into high school, I just found that like it was a lot easier to, you know, maybe because I was like consistently on Adderall at this time too, I could see how that like improved a lot, because, you know, a lot of people with ADHD have like anxiety and depression because of their ADHD. Like it causes all these like, you know, other issues that people don't talk about. A lot of people don't understand ADHD fully. But so maybe that had to do with it, but I think also it was just getting older and like, you know, my brain developing more. It's like I didn't have all these irrational fears that I had when I was younger, because you know, I guess getting older, I was able to like rationalize things a little bit more and kind of just like take more control over my life. And so I really worked a lot on my OCD, and I, you know, started to like battle against my rituals and overcome those things. And, you know, high school was still not like awesome, but, you know, I just did my thing. I always was like a floater. Never had like a big friend group, but I would just like kind of float between friend groups. And I was like involved in rowing, and I had like a good network and outlet in that. And so, you know, when I was in high school, I think I just had some more stuff going on, more control over my life, that I started to feel better. And then towards the end of my high school, Vine came out. Sorry guys, my hair has looked horrible lately. I'm not even kidding you. I'm thinking about fucking chopping this shit off. Can you see me with the little bob? I don't know. I think I would be so sad too, but I'm thinking about it. That's why I'm messing with my hair so much. So, it's, you know, okay. So Vine came out, and I started making Vines with my best friend, and we had so much fun doing that, and it was just like a really fun, positive outlet. And I moved to North Carolina, and I was still making Vines, and I had like a big following because me and my friend kind of like, you know, got Vine famous. We became friends with a guy who was super famous on there, and he would like our stuff and blah blah blah. So I think that also helped a lot. I was like in like a better headspace when I was in high school to like after high school. And then, you know, it's like I started like dating after high school. I was not a dater in high school at all. I was a late bloomer. I've always been a late bloomer. But I started dating, and then attachment issues came up. Oh, yes, they came up. And I was like stuck on this one guy for like 2 years, and I just remember it being horrible. I don't remember much. I just remember it being horrible because I was constantly like so fucking sad, like uncontrollably crying. I remember like there were days I could not leave the house because I could not stop crying, because this person was like activating my attachment issues so hard That was horrible. And then, after that, I got into a band. I was playing in a band. You may notice a theme that when I don't have a creative outlet, my mental health goes in the fucking shitter. Like, that seems to be the theme. So I get into a band, I'm playing shows, like I have this group of guys that I'm in a band with, and we all get along really well, and we have band practice, and it's so fun. And my mental health started to get better. And then the guy that was playing me for 2 years suddenly decided he was in love with me. And so we got into a relationship and we moved, and then he isolated me and was super controlling, and my mental health went in the shitter again. And then I had to leave him, and I had to try to like get past all of that shit, and boom, 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 boom. Like, since then has not been great. Since then, it was not great, but it wasn't horrible. So I moved to California, moved to San Francisco, numbed out. That's all I remember. Was I was very disassociated, very numbed out. I had really bad social anxiety at that time. Like, I remember being like, what the fuck is going on with me? Like, I would stutter. I was just like tweaking out all the time, like with social anxiety. My like insecurities were like crazy. I literally was like, who am I? Like, why is this going on? And I don't know, change, like, I don't know. There was something about being in a place like that was really like intimidating to me. And I think it was just like, felt like everybody else just like had more shit going on than me, and like everybody was more important than me, and I was just like, who the fuck am I and what am I doing here, but yeah. And so I was really disassociated from my emotions. And then so the following years was a lot of just like I think from 22 years old, I turned 22 right before the pandemic. It was in 2020. And I think like since then, from 2020 to 2024, I was just kind of like learning so many lessons. Like, I wasn't growing a lot. I wasn't really like changing a lot, but I was like going through a lot of like changes and challenging experiences, challenging relationships, like just having a lot of experiences. And and this is funny, but it's like I was dating like the craziest people. I was dating people that were like so toxic and so like I would not give them a second of my time today. But there was something going on with me then. I just felt like I was like possessed by something that was like just making me have all these experiences that I needed to go through to like learn something, to come out the other side. Like, I don't know, but I felt like I was broken, like cracked open is how I've said it. I felt like I was cracked open, like all these experiences just like and like everything just like spilled out. And I feel like cracked open, but it's like I'm slowly like, gluing myself back together. I'm so metaphorical. Because after all of those experiences, 2025 to now, well, not now, 2025, the year of 2025, I was in some of the worst mental health, in one of the worst mental health spaces I've ever been in. And since I was a kid, because when I was a fucking kid, it's so sad, but I would write like self-exit, because it's YouTube and we have to say things like that, self-exit letters all the time. I would just like sit in my bed and cry and write self-exit letters because it like made me feel better. And I've always explained it to therapists like that. I'm like, I've always had self-exit ideation, but it's always just been like an escape. Like, it's like, I've never had a plan. I've never like really like been like, I'm going to do it. But it's like when I'm really suffering mentally, it's like, it comforts me to think about it, you know, because it feels like, well, I have an option. I have an option to like end this pain, you know? And so 2025, I was so close to doing that, so close. And I almost checked into a facility because I was so afraid that I was going to. But I read all these like reviews online about the facility and I was like, no, like I cannot go there. Like that's just like not gonna help me at all. And I was like, I just need to like, I need to get help. And like, you know, a lot of it has been therapy. A lot of it was changing the circumstances in my life, moving out of my mom's house because I knew that I had to do that. Like I had to achieve some kind of stability for myself that would do something, you know? And so moving out of my mom's, having stability, having independence, having financial, you know, consistent income and like all of these things, and then ultimately, you know, having my therapist, and then ultimately like trying medication, you know, has helped. You know, I'm like I'm a couple months into it and I feel like I don't feel it as much as I did when I first started taking it, but you know, I still feel like much, you know, better than before. So I'm just kind of not trying to like focus on that too much, but I've been in like a really tough place again because I got fired from my job that was giving me consistent income off of some bullshit, and I don't care. I am self-aware. I do take accountability. That was bullshit. What happened to me was fucking bullshit. Sorry. Stand on it. Stand on business. It was bullshit. But got fired from that job. Then I, you know, got a cleaning job. And then after a couple weeks, she said, I'm sorry, I'm not getting enough clients. Like, I don't have work to give you. So I lost that. And then I was gonna start serving at the restaurant I used to work at. And it would have been so easy to kind of like juggle with this social media assistant job that I'm doing, which is only part-time and doesn't pay a lot. It's just something I'm trying to do to build up my resume. But the restaurant, you know, he was, you know, giving me shifts. Hey, can you work this day? Can you work this day? And then this week he's like, so bad news, all the managers got fired and are being replaced. I'm going to pass on your information to the new managers, but, you know, no guarantees on anything. And so that's where I'm at. I'm living in my lovely little place that I'm not going to be able to afford very soon. And I have to make some kind of moves. And all the while I'm in this new relationship that I've only been in for like 3 months, and it's really hard to manage like a new relationship with attachment issues while all of that's going on, you know? And like I notice for myself that, you know, I can tell like my attachment issues are ramping up because the more invested I am in somebody, the more I care about somebody, the more I'm afraid of losing them. The more I'm going to be crazy. And by crazy I mean the more like I'm going to worry, and I'm going to feel insecure, and I'm going to act out of those insecurities and act out of those attachment issues. And you know, it's like I'm trying to improve my life in so many ways right now, and it's like that's kind of like one more thing that I need to worry about. It's like I'm worried about getting my practical stability, you know, handled. I'm worried about making sure I don't hurt myself. I'm worried about, you know, making sure that I don't hurt myself long term by having a lot of anxiety and like making decisions out of my mental health, you know, not being the best, that are going to affect me long term, and like missing out on opportunities and being behind because of my ADHD or my anxiety, or not, you know, doing the right things, of blah blah blah. And then also I have this relationship. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to act out of my insecurities. I don't want to be insecure, you know? And so like stacking that on all the other stuff is really hard. And, you know, it's easy when you have attachment issues to, you know, especially on the more avoidant side, to go, why am I doing this? Like, I shouldn't be in a relationship. I need to get my mental health taken care of before I can be in a relationship. I need to get my life sorted out before I can be in a relationship. You know, and then some normal person would go, well, you just need to lean on that person, and like you just need to, you know, like let them help you, and like, and it's like, yeah, but that's the problem. Like, I can't do that. And so now I'm worried about, I gotta be able to like let someone help me. I gotta be able to let someone see my insecurities. And it's like, and all the while, oh, and if you do that stuff, there is a possibility that person's going to reject you, and you're going to lose that. And it's like, no. So it's like there's always like something, right? And it's a lot. And it's a lot because I'm alone in it. I don't have friends, you know, I don't have something really going for me right now. And so it's really hard to like pull myself out of the trenches when I don't have a lot of support emotionally, you know? And yeah, this is 28. I'm still waiting for like the fun part of my 20s that I never let myself have. Like, never. I've never let myself have fun. Isn't that crazy? I've literally never let myself have fun. I am such a neurotic person, a type A person, that I've never had fun in my adult life. And I want the fun part, but I still don't feel like I can have the fun part until I'm like financially stable, like, and then once I'm financially stable, I can work on my mental stability, and then, you know, everything else in my life can kind of flourish from that. But it's really felt like I've been in this like prison of my own for my whole life. And you know, I think part of my mental health recovery is that I have like hope for the future. I feel like this is really hard, but like I'm probably gonna get through it, and there's gonna be like better days, but the now is still what I'm like trying to, you know, the now is what I have to like reside in, and I can't ignore the hardships of the now and the trials of the now. And yeah, so that's where we're at. Somebody commented on one of my videos saying like, well, it kind of seemed like you were just venting. And I just want to say, that's the point of my channel. Like, that's the point. I'm trying to, I am just venting. And I'm venting because my philosophy is that we're not all that different. And, you know, it's very validating and comforting to listen to somebody who's been through the things that you've been through. And I can't really like share solutions because I feel like I'm not qualified yet. Like I haven't learned all the ways to like be in a better place yet. So I'm just speaking from the heart. And yeah. But I think that's all for this video, and I really appreciate you guys being here and listening and being a part of the family. And you guys are awesome. I'll see you guys next time. So much love. Bye.